started. I have one or two join us, but they can hop in when they get here. So today we're talking about how to efficiently and quickly get time data from the field into FBS. And we're a couple different ways to do this, and hopefully you have other different options are you can find one that fits your operation the best. Specifically talk about crop data, getting the crop data in, but these ways could also work for some data. It will possibly work for other applications on the farm that we'll touch quickly on at the end of the webinar. The modules I talk about first are import modules, and both of those are extra modules you do have to purchase. If you haven't purchased those, you may not have these options on your program right now, but if you're interested in getting them or getting a quote on them, we touch with a salesman, and of course now is a great time because before May 1st there is some discounts on new modules, 40% I believe. I don't know all the details, I try to stay out of those details, but before May 1st, 15, there are some discounts on the module. So let me get a salesman in contact with you about these modules. We import crop data into through one of our crop import module options, and that's under input and import export, and then import crop data. And we have we know we have working interfaces with Trimble, Apex, AgLeader, Digistar, and Conservice. All names you're familiar with out in the marketplace, the kinds of monitoring our machines like Trimble and AgLeader, and the Apex is the John Deere, of course. And then Conservice is another, if you may not be as familiar with unless you've been to our user conference, and that's different kinds of, mainly like apps. They have devices and apps that handheld devices that you take out in your machines with you and your data. And this is one way that, it's proven how to do these. These are quick and easy. We have steps worked out as long as you have current applications and you're current with FBS. With Apex, because that just happens to be a file I have handy with me right now. To show, I'm going to open my date range up because I think the data is actually from 2014. And a CV file, which is a comma delineated file that you can save your data to. And this is going to be application data. It says it's going to be an Apex file. And then can I find my file? And click. And we're very similar. So having these devices are going to be a similar look to them. What it is it says you have all this data here, but it's in red, so it's saying it's not what we call mapped. So we're going to go on our application data and see right here it's finding these happen to be seeds. This is seed planting. So over on the left, we have different seed varieties that the file has listed. So then we have to tell it what it is, and it's a seed application. We'll come down to that map yet. So seed application, and this you pick what seed it is. So you should have all your varieties in FBS already. I don't have all these in here, so I'm just going to pick a corn and say it's a corn seed, and my seeding method. And I go down and do that for all my lines here, picking what variety it was and what method here and what we're doing. And it's all applying seed. So if it was a chemical, you might have a chemical listed over there. You choose chemical application, you map it to the right chemical, and you go on. This is telling me I'm all mapped, and that's fine. And then a field map, and this is where it brings up, over here on the left again, if you're familiar with our mapping, what kind of file is always on the left. So over the left is what we're reading off the file from Apex, so then we just have to match it up to the project and field over on the right. So this first one was soybeans, so I picked my 2015 soybeans, and I picked my project that matched it, and it automatically picks the field based on the project. You have to go through and so pick your send project and fields and go and map all this all down. And I'm still not mapped because I didn't map everything on here, but once everything is mapped, you would click. It won't let you import until everything's mapped, so I'm not going to go through and map everything because this is a long file. But one thing was out of red, everything was in black. I wouldn't get this message more, and I could click on batch import, and it would bring everything in. And then if I ran like an inventory, I would see those seed varieties being applied. If I ran a crop history report for those centers, you would see those seed plantings on. You have a big file that and map a lot. It could be seed, it could be your chemical fertilizer, it can be your crop operations, charging dollars for putting the machines across lands. Whatever you put into your Apex, Apex marker, your tremble layer can be brought in this way and click on. Isn't quite. Most of them have to be you do work in the field. You download the file to your little memory stick, your little USB stick, whatever you want to call it. Take the stick into the office, bring the file, copy the file over. Because it would be one that is in more real time than the other monitors. Because the service one, I believe, once you complete it goes to their cloud, then you download from their cloud. You don't have to actually bring the memory stick in and out of the office. So it's a couple different ways, but it's pretty quick. You don't have to worry about being lost or smudged or something spilled on it. So it's still nice. And, of course, everything imports really quickly after you get it mapped. So those different quick, no manual, not really manual entry, being your entries in FBS for your crops, really, really nice. The second way you can do it is if you don't have one of those programs, like Agri or Conservice, maybe you have a way to have your operators out there put your data into a spreadsheet type file, and then like Excel file. You could then save as a CSV and use our TA Plus import export. And you crop data, and you would find your file. And I have a test from here right now. And then I click on Setup Import Files. You'd have a spreadsheet for seed. You'd have a spreadsheet for fertilizer and chemicals. And what Excel file or comma delimited file line to find. So it shows me over here on my CSV columns over here on the right. So it's type, and that's number 5, and I put 5 in there, and the date is my timestamp, which is number 1, and my center is number 2, my field is 3, and then on my number, so this is going to be my, this happens to be further, so I'm going to put 4, my quantity number 7. Oops, if I could type 7 there. Save it, and then you could transfer your data in. I have the files, generic file, so nothing's going to come across. So you could set up what I'm saying is you could set up a spreadsheet that the people put that data into and then sent you the spreadsheet, and you could import it that way. Then some people who say they've had really good luck with mimicking like a spreadsheet that like you get out of Trimble or Ag Leader, just a spreadsheet part of it and putting it in that format, and then you can use the crop input export routine. TA Plus import export routine to do several different varieties of applications at once. I tried it, but I think it should work. In theory, it should work, so that could also be an option. Some of our users have really been thinking out of the box to get that spreadsheet that they use for the Plus import export is using a free form out of Google. I have a demo form here. You can make these forms in Google, and then you send them to your operators who have a smartphone or a tablet or a laptop in their machine with them, and they can pull up this form anywhere they have internet access and send it to you, and it would look like something, and they go through and they would type. This type column we took that was on that TA Plus import tells it it's going to be a fertilizer application, and you just center here, and these centers would have to match up with your numbers in FBS, and your field would have to match your numbers in FBS, and you pick your fertilizers will be listed here, and you pick your fertilizer. type that in. And if you want to track what operator did it, you can have some operator names. This is all whatever you make it to be. You can add and delete any kind of question on these forms and submit it. And when they submit it, it automatically comes to your desk. And on the Google website, there drive, there would be Excel spreadsheet file here that records. So they hit submit, it captures those applications or those, I guess, could be absolutely anything you're capturing with these Google Docs. And then download this spreadsheet, download new entries of the spreadsheet to your local computer, and you can import them using the Transaction Plus. Or you could set this up for columns to mimic like the Trimble or the Athlete or the Apex, import it through the crop import routine. Or you just have this information here. You could you have this spreadsheet here in front of you. It's in real time. It's not going to be that hard to come in here and do a general crop input. So you're on screen here so you can see it. Through here we have, we'll say fertilizer application, and we have our date is 4/20, and we have our center is beans 2015. You could be, as they come into you, also put these in FBS. Not quite quick batch import, but it's in real time. So if you got 5 or 6 of these a day, it would be a lot easier than getting 100 at the end of the week. And to put these here. So this thing in by hand would be no extra modules in FBS, a little slower, a little more manual entry, but it's still a great way to get that data in quickly and directly from the field. Fingertips. Some people use Google Forms for more than just applications. They even have been put out on their workers' smartphones and their tablets or work computers and doing like maintenance logs like this. And they have a questionnaire for different pieces of equipment related to FBS, but it's getting that maintenance information in the office to you quickly, so it's not sitting in your shop. In case you know different information on that, or mileage logs. You could do with mileage logs. You could do this with loss if you have livestock or the medications, anything like that might need to be entered. A quick form might be quicker and easier than handwriting it. Gets to you. And right now, I don't know there's any plans to now. These Google Forms are really, they're free and they're really easy to set up. Get that data in real time. So options based on what you want to get out of your data, what kind of data you're trying to collect, how much money you want to spend, how much time you want to take. Those are all things to consider when you're trying to figure out which of these methods is the best for you. Because all of them will get you to the same end result, getting you the data you need, just how much money and effort you want to put forth for it. Nothing wrong still with getting the tickets to you at the end of the month, however you currently do it, but maybe that's just not getting data in your system quick enough for you. Maybe you're lagging behind and you're missing out on some critical management decisions because of that. So this just kind of lets you make those decisions quicker because you're getting that data into the system quicker. Are there any questions on? I went over it quickly because I know everybody's going to be unique when they try to implement something like this, and you'll go in depth and have more training once you get something set up or figure out what to do. So I'm kind of vague on how this works, but I want to let you know what was available. So questions anybody has on any of those questions? Anybody? Everybody?
Just got on, so I'm just trying to get up speed.
Yeah, just whatever different methods you could use to bring. We brought over different modules that are available in FBS and then methods using Google Forms. So, yeah. If you have your option of the 2 modules that you can purchase from SBS, which is your T import-export routine with a generic spreadsheet, your import data, where we know we can bring them in from Trimble, Apex, Ag Leader, Digistar, and Conservice, or kind of box thinking using a Google form and submit responses that way, so they come directly to the office that you can either manually put in or the import routine using this plus the module for crop, Trim plus import export. Other than that, I mean, I have everything recorded, so if anybody wants this recording, I know Norm's a little behind putting the recording up on the website, but it should be up there. I'm sure it's caught back up. He's been out of the office training. Let to anybody if